Hi there, it's me, Billie. Thank you for coming back to my channel. A lot has changed, both in my life and in my makeup game and just everything. For example, Fletcher and I got engaged. This is the engagement ring. They're black sapphires because sapphire is my birthstone. We also got our own apartment, which is where I am now. And then most cutely of all, we got this baby named Squirrel. And she's baby. She's so funny. She does the silliest little things. Oh, and we love her so much. She was a rescue from Indie Humane. She's definitely part Dachshund, and we also think part Beagle. What do you think? Do you think you're part Beagle? Do you think you're part Beagle? Oh, you want to eat my necklace, huh? Mwah. She's crazy baby, and I love her. I got a new tattoo just as of this last Saturday, so it's not healed yet. It's all scabby and nasty looking. Soon the scabs will come off and they'll just be like this normal tattoo color and texture. But it's my first hand tattoo and I love it. And then when it comes to hair, that's changed a bunch. I went through so many. I think in the time that I was gone from YouTube, I did a hot pink, I did a light blue, I did a dark blue, I did a lilac, and then we landed on this. This is my first time doing split dye, half and half, 2 colors. My friend helped me with it, otherwise I couldn't get it to look this good. But I think the biggest change in terms of makeup and what my channel is about is that I now consider myself better at like complexion makeup. I can do my foundation a lot better than I could before. So with practice, I actually know what I'm doing, and that's really exciting. Also, half of me is pink. This hand and this neck are pink because this side is red. So let's just begin. Let me show you a little bit of my makeup collection. These are my palettes. We have them lined up here. I think that's almost every one that I have. I have lipsticks organized in this little thing. And I will be getting shelves for these later, but for right now they're just on the floor. I organized all of these sorts of products in this sort of way. So this is the complexion part of it. I have foundations and setting powders, concealers and setting sprays, and then primers right here. So let's just take a pick. This is a fun one by Wet n Wild. It's called the Photo Focus 3-in-1 Primer Water. For foundation, I've been really loving the Flawless Finish foundation by e.l.f. I'm in the shade Natural. And for concealer, I feel like using this e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. I'm in the shade Light Sand. I've been really liking this translucent setting powder by Haley's. I actually won this in a giveaway, so I'll tell you more about that. These are for the most part the skin things we're going to be bruising with. I might pick out more. Obviously I still need highlighter and contour and bronzer, so I'll be picking those up as I need them. And then when it comes to eyes, the palette I want to use today, I've gotten my hands on a lot of new palettes since I last uploaded or recorded a video, but by far the very most exciting one, Tati Beauty! Tati Westbrook is a content creator on YouTube. She also has her own vitamin company called Halo, and now she has her own makeup company called Tati Beauty. This is her first palette. It is called Texture Neutrals Volume 1, which means yes, there's more to come. This is a really impressive one because you get a full-size mirror, and then you get 6 unique color shades in 4 unique finishes. I love how this is organized. I wish all palettes were organized like this. It's so, oh my god, it's so intuitive. It's so wonderful. I love everything about it. You have mattes, a texture called Sequin, which is almost like a matte with sparkles. It's very unique. You have your metallics, which are very smooth and easy to blend. And then you also have your glitters. So the glitters are what catches most people's eyes. They're the most unique formula. They're very interesting because it's a pressed glitter in a palette. You don't need glitter glue. You just need a finger or a tightly packed brush. And see, I just slightly swirl that around, and I'm gonna swipe that onto my hand. And that's glitter. And that's incredible because I have never before experienced glitters like this. I mean, honestly, oh God, they're just such a pleasure to swatch. They feel very like easy to move around. So when I first grab them, it just kind of moves very easily with my finger. They're very soft in the pan. And that first one, that orange one, didn't swatch very strongly. Let me double that one up. And the black one's really unique because I don't see a lot of black glitters, so that was a really pleasant surprise. But oh my goodness, it's like a dream. I mean, just the way it catches the light, just everything about this palette, I adore it. And it's not limited edition. She made a point to say that it's not limited edition. She's not trying to trick people into ordering it super quickly because she's not acting like it's limited edition. It's a permanent member of the Tati Beauty collection. For a while, I guess I just needed a break. I don't know what happened. It fell through. I had a bunch of videos pre-recorded and I deleted all of them because I felt like so much had changed and my techniques has changed and just everything about my life and even the way I do makeup changed quite significantly. So I just figured, why not just start from scratch and do an update video on what I do now, what it's like now. Because I do feel like my makeup game has improved. Not a lot has changed when it comes to how I do eyes, but the things that I use have changed, and that's nice. So I'm gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna use this 16-hour camo concealer by e.l.f. Again, the shade Light Sand, and I am going to prime my lids with this. But something that I do a little bit differently now, I still pop that on there, but now I also pop some concealer in this inner part of my under eye area and this outer part of my under eye area. And I think I like doing concealer like this and then eyes and then foundation and then bronzer and then highlight. That's just how I like to do it now. That's the steps I'm gonna go through in that order. I've been really loving this little sponge. I wish I remembered what brand it was. I really don't know. All I know is the packaging said it was charcoal, and right now it has a bunch of skin products all over it, but this used to be just like pure white and black. Now it's all brown and tan from Skin Colors, like foundation products and things like that. So it was really, really pretty, like white and black, a really cool, like high contrast design. But I've been using that for my concealers and foundations. One thing that hasn't changed is I am still very happy with my eyelash extensions. I love getting extensions. They make my life so much easier, so I'm definitely still keeping those up. I did decide to stop getting acrylic nails because when it comes down to it, if I want to save money, I have to cut out something. And of my beauty routines, that being hair dye, lashes, and nails were, believe it or not, the most expensive one because I would not only have to get fills every month, and acrylics are expensive, but also my nails being so long were at a higher risk of breaking. So every single time I had 1 or 2 nails that were broken, and then I had to pay for a whole new nail to be built back up from acrylic. So it just got way too pricey for my liking. And just today I went and I got them removed, and my people at my salon were like, oh, we're gonna miss you. And I said, I know, maybe I'll be back in a few months. But I put on these press-on nails. They literally cost like $8 or $9, and they just press right on. They have glue like already on the back of the nail, so you don't need to mess with nail glue or anything like that. They're just super easy to put on. I had to stop talking so I could focus on actually blending this out properly because I was kind of just messing around and not paying attention to what I was doing with my concealer. But now that that's all blended in, we can pop right into Tati Beauty Texture Neutrals Volume 1. Let's take a peek at my brushes. This is a little brush holder that my best friend Haley got me. You guys saw Haley in my Pure 4-in-1 foundation, like long test, long wear review video. All right, taking a fluffy blending brush. I'm gonna open up this glorious palette. I'm navigating to the color Ritual in the texture Matte. So Ritual Matte. So when I lay down my first color, I want to put it in my crease, but because I have hooded eyes, my crease is actually hidden inside of this fold of my eye. So I'm actually going to be looking straight ahead. I'm going to notice where you can actually see the top of my eye above the fold. And that is where I'm going to be placing the color, like that. And then once I extend my eye, by moving my brows up, that's when I can see more fully my entire lid, and I can start blending it into the entire lid. And I'm blending that into my crease. One thing I'll say about these masks is that they're very, very buildable. So if you start light, you can keep the whole look very light. But if you keep layering these shadows, you will get a very deep look, very naturally. And I like that a lot. I like how easily it is built up into a more intense look, like a more smoky look. You can even only use one single shadow from this palette and just use different amounts of pressure when you're applying it and get a very nuanced and deep look. And I think that's so cool. They also blend very easily, so I'm using less pressure when I get up closer to the brow, and that softer touch lets it kind of feather out. Right, so next I'm going into Poet Matte, but I want to switch brushes to this right here. This is called the e.l.f. Eyeshadow C brush. And I'm going to pack this below that brown. A little bit overlapping on the brown. And I'm taking that brush and I'm just buffing the pink color into the deepest parts of the brown color. And then packing more of that pink on. When I get to this outer part of the eye, I'm shaping it into a swooshed up angle like that, just packing the color into that shape. Bringing back that fluffy brush, I'm going into Aura in the shade Sequin, picking that up, and I'm moving this along the top and inner parts of my eye. When you use a fluffy brush like this, the glitters in the sequin formulas won't stay as much because they're being dispersed by your fluffy bristles. So I like to first brush it on like that, and then I use a tapping motion to push it into the skin so that you do retain some of those sparkles. So I'm not sure if you can see it perfectly on camera, but there's definitely those little glitters. And since that shade that I used is like a light base with glitters on top of it, it made it just like a very smooth kind of, almost like it airbrushed the pink and the brown that I had in this part of the eye. So that's really nice. Next, I'm taking another brush and dipping into Sequin Memory. So this is a matte black with glitter particles in it. It's very intense. The matte black, the matte memory itself is very, very intense. That's this one down here. So I'm not quite using that, but I'm using the one above it, which is still a very strong color. So I'm carefully putting that in my outer corner and moving it upwards into the crease. And I'm using just tapping motions, being careful to control where I deposit this color because it is such a strong color that I want to be careful when I'm dispersing it. Going back in with that fluffy blending brush, I'm going to pick up some Ritual Sequin, which is that brown color with those glitter specks, and I'm tapping this over top of where I placed that black just to diffuse it a little bit and let it more seamlessly connect with the ritual that we had put on underneath it. And then I'm actually going to move to Poet Metallic, so I'm going to place that over the pink part. And I like the metallics because they just add a little bit more like shine to the colors that you're using. And just kind of tap around the edges of it with the brush just to kind of make sure they're all moving together seamlessly, more or less seamlessly at least. Here it is up close. Now for my lower lash line, I'm gonna take this brush. I like this one because it's not super tight. It is a little bit more fluffy and the bristles are a little bit more loose, but it's also angled. So if you see, it's not perfectly flat across, it kind of angles up. So I'm gonna take that. I'm going to load it up with Poet Sequin Squirrel. I don't know if you can perfectly see it on camera, but it is like a matte magenta with blue flecks of glitter and sparkle. It's gorgeous. I'm loading that up on the brush and then angling it like this, not like this. I want the angle to be this way with my eye. I'm gonna start depositing that on my lower lash line. Okay, now I'm gonna take Aura in the metallic texture. It's like a squirrel, no, come here. It's like a shimmery light color, and I'm gonna put this in my inner corner. Almost done with the eye. One more important part. Taking a small flat brush, I'm gonna go into one of the glitter colors, but which one? Oh my gosh, I've been using the pink one a lot, so I feel like I kind of want to change it up maybe, but also the pink looks really good, so maybe I'll go into this brown glitter just because I haven't really used it that much, and I did use that color Ritual in my crease area, so maybe that'd be like a nice call out to that color. If you just press your brush into it, it really does pick up a nice amount, and I'm using a small brush because it'll place it precisely where I want it to go. And let's think. I think I want it in the center portion of my eye. Honestly, bravo to Tati Westbrook for creating this amazing palette. It's very innovative. I'm just super happy with this palette. I don't know. And that glitter, can you believe that there's no glitter glue under that? That's just a glitter and a brush, and it went on like that. Wow. Lastly, we just dip some mascara on these lower lashes. If you don't have extensions, pop your lashes on. I'm gonna do the other eye and I will be back. Okay, we're back. The eyes are both done. I really like them. I like how glittery they are. The one thing that worries me is that my lashes are just kind of dusty from all the shadows, so I'm just using a little spoolie and just flicking through those. But yeah, super in love with this palette. This palette is the palette of 2019, even though it came out in the very end of 2019. This is it. This is where it's at. This is the money maker. I don't know what I mean by that. I'm just getting so excited, but I like getting hyped up in videos. I think that funny videos are more enjoyable to watch than like serious videos. Moving on. So lately, believe it or not, the skin, the foundation, that whole jazz, that's been like my most enjoyable part, like of my entire makeup routine. Like skin has been my favorite part to do, and I think it's because I'm learning so much that it's so exciting. But let's bop right into it. So this is the Wet n Wild Rose 3-in-1 primer water that I mentioned earlier. It's just a primer in a spray bottle. Kind of fun to use. I'm just gonna spritz it mainly onto my cheeks. Here's another secret. By the way, I'm rubbing that in with my hands. I don't do like makeup on my forehead. Sorry. The way I see it, my bangs are always gonna be covering it the way my hair is styled right now, so I don't need to do my makeup on my forehead. It's just weird, like having to push it up and then having to brush it back down. I don't mess with it, so yeah. So this is a really fun foundation. It's literally only like $5 or $6, but it is a very small bottle. It's actually less than 1 fluid ounce, and normally things are like 1 or 1.5 fluid ounces, but either way. So I pump one pump on one cheek. I have to tilt my head back because a lot of times I've just been like sitting normal and then pumping it, and then the pump falls onto my clothes, and then I have to change my clothes and I wasted foundation. So it's just a bad mix. So I'm tilting my head back and just boop, there we go. I love this foundation. I don't even know why I love it so much, but anyway, moving on. This is what I've been doing lately. I've been taking this exact sponge every single time I do my makeup. Sometimes I wash it, sometimes I don't. And when I first have the pumps on my face like this, I take it with this flat side and I just kind of smudge it around while it's still all wet like that. I just kind of smudge it around. So now it's more spread out. And then I actually start buffing it into my skin. So I think I have a mirror around here. That's okay, I'll just use the phone to look myself, that's fine. So I'm buffing it into my neck. The neck is important today because my hair dye made it all red, so I really want to try to cover that up if I can. So I buff it into my into my neck and this like underside of my face with patting motions. And then it's always really fun to put it on like my cheeks. I don't know why, but just seeing this is so satisfying and fun to me. And I don't put makeup directly on my nose anymore. I just kind of like whatever's left over after I've spread it out on this part of my face, I then spread out onto my nose. I don't put it directly on my face because you guys know Jackie Aina. She's a famous YouTuber of the beauty community. She gave that as a tip for keeping makeup on your nose better. Just don't apply it directly to your nose. Try to keep the amount of makeup on your nose to a minimum. So to do that, you can just kind of, while blending out the rest of your face, then take that makeup over to your nose. But don't directly put pumps of makeup onto your nose because a lot of layers can be hard for our noses to handle, especially since noses are shaped so weird and there's so many crevices and like weird things happening. So don't overload it with makeup. It'll make it look better and last longer if you use less. So I didn't do a good job blending into my neck. I might take another pump later and do that, or I could just say I don't care and like wear my shirt up so that it hides my neck or something, I don't know. But basically, I keep blending. I love how my hand tattoo looks. I'm so glad that you can see it no matter what I do. My tattoo artist was like, are you sure you're ready? This is a big step. And I said, I think I definitely am. The only thing that was keeping me, because I've wanted a hand tattoo for a very long time, the only thing that was keeping me from getting it was the idea that I might not be able to find a job that I like because someone might not want to hire me if I have a lot of visible tattoos. So I was just planning on wearing long sleeves and things like that. But I've been going through a lot of changes academically with my major and things like that. And I've been thinking more and more about it, and a culture in which I can be myself is very, very important to me in a future workplace. So the way I see it, if an employer were to want to disregard my skills and talents and not want to hire me simply because of a visible tattoo, then they're not likely a work culture where I want to work anyway. So I think in a way it'll help eliminate a lot of potentially toxic workplaces, because I know myself at this point and I know that I can't fit into like a traditional corporate work area, which is very funny because I used to be a business student. I was a direct admit to a very prestigious like college in my state. I was directly admitted into it, and a lot of people couldn't get into it after 2 or 3 years of applying, and I just kind of took it for granted for a little bit that I was a direct admit. But the more and more I got involved in that college, the more I realized this business culture, I despise it. I think it's terrible for me, and I don't want to go into details. And if you do like business school and you're digging it and you're driving, you're ready to go into a career in business, go for it. I'm so happy for you. It's just definitely not where I want to be. It's not where I see myself. It's not where I want to see myself either. So So that is what it is. Okay, so that foundation has done a really nice flawless finish all throughout my face, and I love it so much. And I just keep patting this little sponge lightly over all parts of my face until it just buffs it all in, and I'm really happy with the results that I'm getting. Now, here's another big change that I've made. I've made a very significant change in how I use translucent powder. I used to have no idea how this works, and I mean, if you've seen my other videos, then you've watched me like have no idea how this works. But now I know, and it's awesome. Basically, I take my little powder brush, I take this powder, this is called the Retouch Perfecting Powder Loose Setting Powder. It's by Hailey's Cosmetics, or Hailey's Beauty, or just Hailey's. And I won this in a giveaway. So if you guys know Juicy Jazz, it's spelled with an S, but I think it's pronounced with a Z sound, so Juicy Jazz on YouTube. She's a famous YouTuber, and she was doing a giveaway. She partnered with Hailey's, and I entered it, and then I checked my Instagram DMs one morning, and there they are. They're like, give me your email and your mailing address. And I was like, here it is, send it away. And so now I won this. That's so cool. And it's actually a really good product. And I think it retails for something that's a little bit over my budget. So I'm glad that I was able to try it in a giveaway form. Because I think it's normally like $22, and I wouldn't necessarily want to spend $20 on one single product. But basically, now that I know how to use setting powder, it's a joy to use. You want to put a little bit into the lid, and then you want to take your powder brush and you want to buff it into it. So you want to buff the powder into the brush so it's in the bristles, and kind of swirl it around a little bit too. Not a lot. I actually blew away a lot of the excess that was on this cap because there was a lot. So I buffed that into that, and then with this, I'm going to dust off a little bit of the excess. And then I first start pumping it like this up and down, tapping motions in my under eye. So because I do this first, there's the most powder on the brush when I do this. And then after I do that, I kind of move it over the rest of my face like this. So it gives it a nice, flawless finish throughout the whole face. But on that part that I put under my eyes and I tapped it in, it deposited the most powder, which means it's gonna set that part of my face the most, so it won't move around or anything like that. You know, to be honest, looking at some of my old videos, I kind of feel embarrassed because I feel like the techniques I talk about when it comes to foundation and translucent powder and just bronzer and contour, I wouldn't follow those tips today. So, I don't know. Take my earlier videos as a grain of salt. Take all my videos as a grain of salt, because I'm just one person and I'm not you, and you probably know you better than I know you. Next. Another grand difference in my techniques. Just a second. She's ripping her toy up. This poor dog toy. That stuffed monkey has seen better days. So, I still really love this Tarte Clay Play Face Shaping Palette, which I got as a gift from BoxyCharm for signing up during a promotion or whatever. It still smells delightfully like chocolate. But the way that I do my bronzer and contour with this has changed significantly. I feel like when I used to do my bronzer, I used to bring it way too far down. And I don't like that. So I want to use bronzer and contour to make it look like my cheekbones are chiseled. So let me just do it. Basically, once I outline this point or close to this point, I don't want any more bronzer below it. I want this to be the cutoff of a chiseled cheekbone. I am gonna buff into the hairline, that's very important, but I don't wanna keep dragging my bronzer further down on my face. I'm going back and forth between the shades Terracotta and Desert, by the way. But you can use whatever shade is right for you. Don't let me tell you how to live your life, honey, don't worry. To be honest, I'm still not fully sure if what I'm doing right here is bronzer or contour. I think I'm partially contouring because I am shaping my face to have that like sharp cut. And that should bring in like a little bit of snatchiness, like to make me look snatched. And that is like a contour thing to make your face look different shapes until you're happy with it. But I don't know. Part of me thinks that because it's so light, this is just bronzer, but I don't know. I think I'm contouring. I don't know. So I did go a little bit further down than I wanted to, but here's how I'm gonna clean it up. I'm going back into this Haley's, putting a little bit onto the cap, and I'm gonna, just like this tiny bit, I'm gonna swish this side of the brush into it. Just tap it into it until it's in the bristles. And then I'm gonna try to kind of drag a line. I think that very gently cleans it up a little bit to what I was talking about, where you don't have any bronzer below that certain line. I took a little bit more powder and now I'm just tapping the powder into here and then swiping. I think that's good. I don't know. We're almost done. Bear with me, please. By the way, how I decided to place this line here was that I know that my cheekbone is right here, and I want to make my face look more shapely, more sunken in, and like, I don't know, just more good. I don't know how to, no, squirrel, good girl. I don't know how to explain it, just more better. Okay, for the nose, I haven't yet perfected how to do a good nose contour, so I'm not gonna mess with it. Wait, for some reason I'm not liking my bronzer right now. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that translucent powder and see if I can clean it up maybe. Also, if you ever feel like you've gone too much with your bronzer, you can take a little bit of translucent powder or a very light colored powder, like a face powder, anything, and just kind of dust over it, and it will diffuse it a little bit. If you feel like you've gone too overboard, it won't be perfect, but it'll be enough to fix and smooth out some small mistakes. So that's what I'm doing a little bit of here. Here's something else that's new. I like blush a lot now. I'm still learning like the perfect techniques to use for it, but I think I'm getting good. Hopefully, that's the goal. So I'm gonna use this brush. It's like tapered in at the top, so it's kind of like a whoop. And I'm going into this little blush. So this is by Phase Zero Makeup, and it is a blush called Making Moves Blusher. This was a gift from my fiance's aunt, Kira. Hi, Kira. So I'm gonna use my blush to sculpt my face a little bit more. So I wanted to almost go alongside the contour, or bronzer if you wanna call it. So I'm dusting that along, and with very light pressure, swiping. Now, let's do, oh, I forgot something, silly me. I mentioned earlier that I'm not fully comfortable with doing a nose contour, but that doesn't mean that I can't warm up the center of my face with a little bit of bronzer. So, using this brush, I'm dipping into a tiny bit of, like tiny bit of bronzer. I like to just kind of dust it along my nose very lightly, and then also in this part of my eye. I feel like it makes it look more sun-kissed, and I learned that trick from Raw Beauty Christy. If you watch her on YouTube, she's really cool. That's it. That's all I wanted to do. All right, I'm gonna do three last things. For highlight, I'm gonna use this highlighting brush. It's by e.l.f. It literally says highlighting brush. And I'm using this Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powder. This is the shade Blossom Glow. It's very pretty. So I'm gonna take this, I load it up on my brush, and then I feel like what I used to do with my highlight was I used to just like swipe it every which way. I kind of don't like doing that anymore. I feel like it's a little messy. What I try to do now is focus where I want the highlighter to go by like pressing in on that specific spot. So I put highlighter on this brush. Now, since I want it on this part of my face, I'm just gonna stamp it onto that. Stamping it on. I like to smile and put a little bit on these centers of my cheeks. And I feel like that controls where the sheen goes. You see how it delivers just a nice amount of glow exactly where I put it? I like to have more control of it. I don't just swipe every which way anymore. I mean, I don't know. This is just what works for me a little bit better now. I just like it more now. I'm still very generous with highlighter. I like it to go only where I tell it to go. And I really like a little bit of nose highlight. I think that just looks so darn cute. Cupid bow. Bottom of the chin. All right, now we're almost done. One more thing I want to do is my lipstick. I have this really nice lipstick. Let me go get it. Oh, here's something else I like doing that I forgot mentioning when I was doing my eyes. I like to put some eyeliner in my waterline. So any pencil liner will work, and I really like this one because the color is unique. So this is by Urban Decay. It's called the 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil, and the color is called Torch. So I think that this will deliver like a nice unexpected pop of color. I don't have any like other warm red or pink shades of eyeliner, otherwise I would use those because they would match this particular look a little bit better. But even just this, I feel like fills in that blank spot on the waterline really nicely. And I just feel like it's like such a fun way to bring together the eyes. If you want, you can also put it on the top part of your lower lash line, but I don't have a mirror like directly in front of me. I'm just looking back at my phone while I'm recording this, and so I won't be super precise if I try to do that. So now the eyes are done. And then for lipstick. So I really want to use this Dose of Color lipstick. Dose of Colors. It's the shade Date Night, but I already used it in a video. This is a new lipstick that I got. It's by Stila. It's called the Stay All Day Liquid Lipstick. It's in the color Rubino. I don't know. I think this one matches the red side of my hair better, so I'm gonna use that one. Yeah. Lipstick. Also, a quick note on the bronzer. The way that I did it and the shapes that I used and the line thing that I did, that works for my face. I don't know if it'll work for other people's faces. So if you try it and it's just not grooving for you, don't worry about it. You could just have a different face than I do. That's probably normal. The doors open, take the hot road and hop in. First impression, you OPN. We should be closer than friends. If you OPN, engaging you's on my agenda. Request my chariot to get ya. The doors open, take the hot road and hop in. First impression, you OPN. We should be closer than friends. If you OPN, engaging you's on my agenda. Request my chariot to get ya. The doors OPN, take that hot road and hop in. Monarch butterflies, you should open up. I'm trying to put your heart together, found it broken up. Going up in smoke, smoking up. Make sure the children in the house, she's inappropriate. The way she's approaching us, I disassociate. Something I've been liking doing with my lips, and this probably won't work for everyone, but I just happen to like it, is I like to kind of build the shape of my lips. So I like this shape here. But if you notice, and you can clearly see it when I open my mouth, I didn't line the entire lips. The edges, the tiny little edges, I left without lipstick on. I think that for my face shape, this is nice because it makes like a nice round kind of pouty lip. If you don't like it, don't do it. It's as simple as that. Something else new that's totally unrelated, but I'm still saying it, is I've been wearing jeans a lot more lately. Haley and I went to go look at jeans and I found some on clearance and I bought them. And the only reason I was even interested in jeans is because I just happened to be wearing jeans when Fletcher proposed to me. And then I was like, that's so weird because those pictures are important now. Like, those are pictures that we show, like, oh, this is when we got engaged, this was the proposal, this is what it was. And looking at those, if you don't know anything else about me, you would just think that I just like wear jeans all the time. And it's weird because I had usually like never worn jeans. That was just like a random, I just randomly decided to wear jeans that day. And Fletcher happened to also be proposing on that day. And I was thinking like, well, why not wear jeans? So then I went and I picked out some clearance jeans. And so now I'm trying to wear jeans. I'm wearing them right now. I like tugging this sweater down so you can see my rose tattoo. That's always fun. One last step and then I promise we're done. Thank you for sticking with me. Setting spray. I used to not do setting spray a whole bunch, but now I'm gonna do it. This is by Wet n Wild, the Photo Focus Natural Finish Setting Spray. And we're just gonna spritz this. Oh, shake well before use. I almost forgot. Ready? Woo! That's nice. You don't need a lot. Woo! That'll get you covered. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for sitting with me, for listening to my life updates, my makeup updates, my dog updates, all the updates, my tattoo updates, my nails updates. Thank you for sitting with me today. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and watch my other videos. And also, don't forget to be good to yourself today, because you know what? You deserve it. Bye! No, seriously, please subscribe. See ya!